This is Dr. Vaishali, and I'm reading from the book Substance of Homeopathy, book written by Dr. Rajan Sankaran, chapter number 36, The Salt. We have studied the individual character of the anion and cation. Now, let us look at the interaction between this anion and cation when they come together in a salt. It will be seen that in the salt, both the anion and cation show their specific individual features. But as a result of the action of one on the other, the salt acquired special qualities. A salt consists of two complementary qualities, both of which are needed in order to survive in a particular situation. With the exception of metals and few others like phosphorus, sulfur, one quality is insufficient to survive. A salt is thus the union of two qualities which balance each other and together are appropriate in certain life situations. There are various salts in the human body which enable us to face different everyday situation, and when a person is stuck in the situation of the particular salt or perceive himself to be in a particular situation, he needs that salt in order to get out of that state. Of the two components of the salt, the cation and need to form relations, while the anion, which is a negative ion, which sometimes seems to repel relationships. It seems as if it needs much effort for the anion to maintain the relationship. Thus, we find natrum, magnesium, kali, calcia eager to form a relation, while fluorine, iodine, phosphorus, etc. feels the need to make an effort to maintain the relationship. The two components, when they come together in a salt, enter a strong complementary relationship adapted to life situation. The quality of the natrum is a strong desire for relationship. In the face of such a strong need, any rejection is bound to cause tremendous hurt and disappointment. This need of natrum needs to be balanced by the quality of expecting disappointment and rejections, of being unable to break off the relations. This quality comes from the muriaticum element, and thus the natrum muriaticum is understandable a very basic salt for the represent man's need to form a relationship and at the same time the ability to withstand rejection. Calcia phosphorica is another salt found in the large amount in the body and hence must represent basic life situation. The calcia person needs to have people around, wants to be protected as he feels insecure. The feeling of phosphor is I must prepare to be alone, to be able to live on a distant island. Thus, calcium phosphorus has a need for security but the ability to live alone if the need arises. In this way, the main salt of our body represents the basic situation of the life. Sussler seems to have instinctively understood this and formed this system with the 12 tissue salt. And we shall now proceed by summarizing the quality of the cation first, then the anion, and then try to understand the characteristic of the salt through cases. Once this is done, we will derive the property of certain less understood and less used salt using the same principle. The salt, like other drug in the homeopathic materia medica, can present several different ways. These different presentations always represent the basic theme of the drug, only at a different stage in its evolution. To explain, let us study the calcia self. It could be seen in any one of the following stages. 1. Laminating. I am not appreciated by the one from whom I seek the protection. Number 2. Action. I must make an effort in order to gain the appreciation of one from whom I expect the protection. Number 3. When this fail, I have to fight and quarrel with the person from whom I seek protection since my effort to gain his appreciation have failed. So the rubric is quarrelsome, jealous, hatred of the person who disagree with him. Number 4. When even this fail, I am completely unable to get the appreciations despite my effort and quarrels. Therefore, he become a fearful, frozen and numb. And so the rubric is sits and meditate over imaginary misfortune. These 4 stages are seen in all the drugs of the materia medica and in the patients. In practice, the second stage seems most frequent, but it is also the least known in our literature. we find only the failed state in the materia medica, while what we see in the practice is the cop up or coping up stage. The importance of this can be understood by the considering an example. Let us suppose we have a patient who is described as a very helpful to everyone. This is the most characteristic feature about her. We have other data, but this is something that cannot be ignored. Now, where do we look in the repertory? The affectionate, sympathetic, cares about others. None of these rubric are really satisfactory. Once I understood the various stage of the remedy, I started taking rubric from the more advanced stages if there was no rubric available which correspond to the current stage. Thus, in the above example, I would ask what would be the patient's feeling or actions if the helpfulness went unreciprocated. You can find such an incident in the patient's life. From this, we can select a rubric. For example, if the patients were to become a cruel if disappointed, and I would often select the rubric cruelty. The remedy chosen by the method would usually fit into the case very well. However, we need to be cautious, taking care not to overuse or abuse this method. The fourth stage represents the reactions of the person as the intensity of the delusion increases. Thus, stage 1, the delusion or main feeling. Stage 2 represent the coping mechanism as the intensity of the delusion become more, and stage 3 shows the failed stage where the person is unable to cope up with the delusion at this intensity but is trying his best to do so, and stage 4 represents the given up stage where the person make no effort to cope. In any single patient, all the stage may be seen at some point of their lives, and though one of these is usually more marked. Thus, the calculated self person may make effort to gain appreciation, but when he does not, laminate that he is not appreciated. The fourth stage describe help in the understanding the drug, the patient in a better way, and are used only as a convenience. It must not be expected that patient will fall strictly into the one stage. We are understanding the remedy Natrum carbonicum. Number one stage. The main theme of Natrum carbonicum is of the vital reaction of the carbonicum, which is needed by the person who is alone. Example: without having any relationship with another human. So that is a no. With another human means single relationship. So Natrum. Number 2, Natrum carbonicum people are quite independent and self-sufficient, living their lives alone through having a good contact with others. They are sociable and can be quite loquacious and vivacious. I have found them to be organized, sincere, honest, straightforward, non-manipulative people. They have strong principles. Industrious, they can be resolute, persevering, and self-possessed and courageous, which is mentioned in the Allen's Encyclopedia. They react very well to the music, sensitive and defined. They are sympathetic and help others. Sensitive, especially to the suffering of the people who are lonely and forsaken by the society. For example, if a beggar is seriously ill on the footpath and being ignored by the people around, the Natrum car person may postpone his own work and take the beggar to the hospital, etc. This can they can fight for the others. On the other hand, they can be quite quarrelsome and pugnacious. Number 3, Allen's Encyclopedia mentioned the symptom. She does not know what to do on account of apprehensiveness and ennui, and thinks that she is quite lonely and forsaken all the day. The two basic feelings are ennui means boredom, and the apprehension means anxiety as a result of this forsaken lonely feeling. The ennui produce an intolerance, melancholy, a sad, despondent mood, and the anxiety which is concerned with the future. They can be very sensitive, especially to the separation from the loved one and to the breaking of relationship. They desire to make a contact but have been unsuccessful in forming the relationship and blame themselves for it. So the delusion he cannot succeed does everything wrong. They get estranged from their family and the friend and bear all this grief silently. and feeling forsaken. These people can have a severe inferiority complex, especially in the sphere of forming the relationship. They may feel unworthy of the love of any relationship. I have found in such a people a history of disturbed relationship with one of the parents, especially that of being forsaken or neglected by the father or the mother. A woman gives the history that her father neglected her in the childhood. There is also the vital fear of starting at the slightest noise, fear of all mankind, fear constant of everything. Natramka persons may also be irritable and later indifferent. They get averse to society, even to their family, husband, etc. The dream of Netram calves include the dream of the danger, robber, murder, corpus, water, and flood. While there are a pleasant dream of marrying two women, of a parties and entertainment. The pleasant dream shows that he is setting up relationship and having a good contact with the society. Whereas the anxious dream shows that fear of death and the fear associated with being loneliness. And number four, indifferent, weary of life, no desire to do anything, and dullness and stupefaction. And I have not seen this stage, but this may be happen. Physical symptoms are chilly but heat and sun aggravate.